Well, it's week 6 of the LCS, but I'm joined by somebody right now who is not associated with the LCS anymore. This coverage brought to you by Alienware. Romain, how's it going?
Really, really good. I'm really happy to be here.
What is your official title now?
So I'm a business manager for the LEC. So my job is to work on the monetization around the LEC, actually, the European Championship.
I don't know if you've done too many interviews or there was too much conversation with you around the time that you switched over to working at Riot, but was that a tough decision for you? Because obviously you'd worked with teams for quite a long time.
That was so my first opportunities. My first couple of opportunities were more with teams, and that's a question I had to ask myself a lot: is do I stay in the team side of the business, or do I move to an agency, for example, or even to an editor? And I wasn't too hyped at first to join Riot because it's such a big company that whatever you do, you have to think really long term, and sometimes it slows you a bit. Where when you work for a team or an agency, you can act instantly and create like crazy stuff. So it's a bit easier, even if you fail, which is okay because the game Riot is sustaining. But yeah, I met the BD in chief in Europe called Alban, and he convinced me that was a really good call to come, and all the sponsoring which was happening there, and the way they were creating the marketing offer to actually create some hype around the franchise model in Europe. Yeah, so I said, okay, keep talking. Okay, I'm in. What do I sign? Like, I'm coming back home.
I'm glad I could talk to you about him. First off, Americans I think would just call him Albin, but it's Albon. Is it?
Alban would be the French pronunciation.
Albon. I'm just gonna call him Albin because that feels better. I've been hearing his name a ton lately, but I know he kind of works more behind the scenes over there. You can provide a little context if you could, just about sort of who he is and what he's done for the LEC.
Yeah, so he moved to Riot like a year ago. He used to work for Coca-Cola as a chief gaming officer, I think was his exact title. So he was the guy working, for example, behind the Coca-Cola League, which happened for the Challenger Series. And so he knows both sides of the world, like the esport world and the real world for a big brand with a huge marketing scale. And yeah, his expertise and everything like helped a lot, definitely Europe. And I mean, you can see it. We now have a lot of sponsors, and I think they had over 350 interviews last year for different brands. So trying to understand, because yes, you need brands for the whole monetization of the LEC, but you need proper brands, because as soon as you start to integrate some sponsorship into the show, man, your viewership might like it or not. And we have really sensitive viewers, and you know, Riot is player experience first. So if the community was unhappy, they would have to cancel some of the deals probably. So it took a lot of time, and the partners we have now are like we're really happy to work with them. Yeah. So it's cool. I mean, the same stuff's going to happen in the US as well. So we're all regions. I think the overall world is slowly, Riot is waking up. Yeah. Like after years of just sitting a bit in the back and really trying to tailor the best product, like it's like we're realizing, okay, maybe we can start to sell it a bit in a clever way, you know. And look what happened in China with the Nike deal. It's so good for esport.
I appreciate that you're throwing it out there like it's happening everywhere. But for me, I've been looking at the LEC stuff and I'm like, what the hell, LCS? Get your shit together. And so in a sense, I kind of appreciate it because there's always been that rivalry between LCS and LEC, but I really see LEC pushing itself not just on the sponsorship side, but also on the production side and sort of the product side. I think they're doing a lot of really cool stuff. Is there any particular reason why we're seeing a kind of renaissance hit the entire LEC? You know, like not only are you guys doing stuff on the biz dev side, but people are really enjoying the show. Viewership seems up. Like, what is there any core reason why it's hitting every part of LEC?
I think, I mean, it's a team effort, definitely. And on every single level in Berlin, like from the publishing to event to production to content to like the broadcast people, like everyone is doing such a good job that all those little details are like gathering to create this really nice product. And everyone is having so much fun, even backstage, even in the Riot office, like when we're working and stuff, it translates on stage. It's the G2 effect, kind of. When you see the mic check of G2, when you see them smiling and laughing, they're having fun, and it translates really well. I think LEC is having a lot of fun right now, from business to broadcast to on stage and everything, and it shows. Like the overall product is really nice, I think.
Yeah. No, it's been awesome to see. Can you talk to me a little bit about the Kia ad that you guys used to announce with all the cast? Because that was something that years ago I don't think Riot would have ever done, right? Like for me, at least on the LCS side, sort of knowing how they handle talent and all that kind of thing, it doesn't feel like something that they would have done to really integrate like the broadcast talent in something as big as that. What sort of went into that, and what were the behind-the-scenes conversations? Because it felt really great before the start of the split.
I think there was an incredible activation to actually go to a brand, and instead of having them working solely with an agency and coming to you and trying to force like a specific ad on you, you would be, okay, we know our viewership. Ideally, we maybe could use Teams, but not really, because Teams have their own ecosystem and we are Riot and you're signing the tournament itself. So what we can offer you is actually our casters, our talents, and they're really good, they're talented, they're used to talk in front of a camera, they're funny, most of them have great personality, from Frostcorin to Dracos, Medic, Vidus, all of them. Like this ad is so good because it's going a bit over the top compared to what an agency could deliver, but because it's done so beautifully and each of them is using a really specific kind of meme around them, it shows, I mean, it's funny to watch and it's good. And I hope most of the new sponsors we're going to sign in the future, we're going to have this specific moment to sit around the table and say, look, what's the best way to activate your brand so it's not too cringe, it's make our community happy, and then we're both happy at the end of the day. Yeah. Because having a good 2019 year, it's interesting, but what we want is turn esport into kind of a real sports from a business perspective. So we need deals for 2020, 2021 and stuff like that, and we need happy sponsors for that.
I don't know how comfortable you feel pulling the veil back, but who produced that? Because you're saying it didn't come necessarily through an agency. So that ad in particular, did you guys work with like a production company? And because it came out really polished.
That was in house.
It was in house.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, we used people outside, but that was done by one of the EU lady, Margot. Okay. Margot did an insane job with this whole stuff, and a lot of people from the publishing thought around it, and that was really our baby, you know.
Yeah. No, I mean for me, that is so exciting to see the fact that like Riot internal teams can handle doing something that feels like a mainstream commercial. That felt like something that could air on television or on any different network. So it was really exciting to see that come through. One of the interesting things also is that there's all this ancillary content around LEC, right? You guys have Euphoria and all that kind of stuff. I'm kind of curious, do you think there's a world where any of that content could get sponsored in the future? Because I've always wondered why that stuff hasn't seen sponsorship.
Absolutely. And I think this Kia ad, for example, was the beginning of an internal realization, like all the really incredible stuff we are doing now, maybe we could do it even better and bigger with a specific sponsor. And if the product you're doing resonates with the stuff you're creating internally, yes, of course. I mean, that makes sense even, actually, because it can magnify. I mean, that's the same for you. As soon as you start to work with brand, it gives you like more reach and more marketing potential activation. So it's more interesting. It even forces you to think your own product. What am I good at? What am I exactly selling? To who? How am I making it? Yeah.
No, I mean that's one of the things that got me so excited about seeing that. And in a lot of ways, like, and it pains me to say this, but it is remarkable to me that the LEC is suddenly becoming an example that I want the LCS to move towards. And so normally I would never say that. You know, I'm like, fucking EU LCS. We watch. LEC is completely different than EU LCS, it feels like, in a lot of ways. And it's you guys are leading the way in so many different aspects. What has it been like for you coming internally? And has there been any kind of weird shocks or like, oh, you didn't anticipate this, or any exciting stuff that's happened for you that you didn't really expect going into the job?
I knew Riot was big. Riot is actually huge. Yeah. And you realize, for example, esport being such an important part of how Riot is perceived on the overall esport scene and stuff. Internally, it's definitely not the biggest department. Between the potential new games incoming, between the whole publishing around League of Legends, like there's so many stuff on the pipeline for every single region. It's a game on 14 regions. Yeah. So everything you think has to fall in every category around the world. Like I think we have 22 offices around the world for 3,000 people. It's a huge machine, and once again, whenever you want to do something, you have to think long term, which is totally different approach. And I'm not sure that we see that much in Europe, because the Berlin office is just esport, for example. Sure. So we all live, breathe, and sleep by esport, and it's really cool. And you have people around you to actually discuss some really deep esport knowledge and stuff, and they understand and they react. So we're all working towards the same goal, and I mean, it shows once again. Yeah.
I don't know if this is in your wheelhouse or not, but kind of curious what the first year of permanent partnership or franchising, whatever you want to call it, what's that is looking like for LEC so far, because you've had the teams come in and start building their brands.
It's looking really good. The revenue model is good. The teams are happy because we're signing all the sponsors, and a huge chunk of this money actually goes directly to our team, so it makes our ecosystem staying alive. It's good, and I was lucky enough to be to be sitting around the negotiation table between Riot and teams for the last 4 years of my life, either for Unicorns or for Optic. So now that I'm on the Riot side, I'm trying to make sure all the stuff I wanted to hear on the other side, we're saying it, and we're a bit like being more efficient and building this relationship. And it's working great. I mean, our 10 teams owners have a lot of personalities, a lot of fun, and even it translates really well to Twitter. And even I can't wait for the final, the road shows and everything. Like the amount of banter we're gonna have is gonna be insane.
Yeah. Are you guys already looking to figure out how to work with brands at the finals?
That's one of the package, for example, you can acquire, but we would rather go for brands following us the whole year, because a final package is going to be a one-shot activation, which can end up great, but that's a lot of internal resources sunk into a project which might be really small.
Sure.
We'd rather have them following. I mean, our ecosystem is a bit unique because compared to other esports games where you just follow tournaments, we have this league to sell. Like, it's content every goddamn week. If you know how to activate it, it's a strength, I believe. Yeah. So we'd rather have a partner for the whole split.
Yeah, well, that's what I meant is, like, your existing sponsors, are you talking to them about how they can do something unique at finals or whatever? Because no, I just mean because I think that I assume that there might be a key parked out in front or something like that. It's interesting to see how that scale of an event you can really bring a brand in.
I love this question because that's one of the topics we are heavily discussing at the moment. Yes, it is. I mean, it makes sense now then, and not only sponsors, but teams as well. And the whole tailgating we had in Auckland, for example, at the final was mind-blowing for me. That was so good to have this fan village kind of with all the teams going there, interacting with each other.
Talking about LCS Summer Finals, we should say.
Sorry, yeah, the LCS Summer Final. I think that was really good, and that's a concept I would love to see in Europe, for example, for our finals. We're going to Rotterdam. It makes sense to have all the teams going there, and it doesn't even matter if you go to the playoff or not. Like 1 year ago, that would make sense because if you're not going to the playoff, you're not going to inject the money to have a booth and everything. But now we're going to be partners for 3-4 years. It makes sense to create the hype. Your brands need to be seen. If you don't exist in the eyes of your viewers, your brand's never going to go anywhere. So,
man, it's so exciting to see and hear about the things that are happening over in LEC. And you know, I think whenever, and I mean no disrespect to you or to Riot, but I think in the past people have seen some of the business announcements a little skeptically because it's not been a focus for Riot in the past. But seeing what you and Albon have been able to accomplish in EU in such a short time has been really impressive.
Yeah, but that's also possible because on a higher level in the company, you have now this will to monetize the esport department. The esport department, and then it's literally Riot waking up and coming back in esports and okay, now we're going to start to make deals, and now you start to see it happening, and it's a really strong signal sent to the whole industry actually, because maybe Riot was a bit on the one step back. I mean, we had those awesome deals, the MasterCard stuff and the Alienware, for example. Yeah. Now we can go more, we can go bigger, and if each single region around the world starts to wake up and sign stuff, it's really good for esport overall. Yeah.
Very exciting stuff. Is there anything you want to say to the fans? Also, I'm sure a lot of LCS people will be watching this and saying, Romain abandoned us. He's gone. I don't know. Anything you want to say to anybody?
Thank you for watching LEC. Thank you for watching LCS. Keep watching. You guys are making esport alive by watching us. You watch us, we exist. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Romain. Killing it in your new job. Doing much better than your previous job did. You know, Optic was a struggle. It was a struggle. Yeah. You can check out the rest of my coverage of all things esports right here on my YouTube channel. Have you heard about the new Area 51M by Alienware? It is so cool. The commercials on the LCS, they're non-ad blockable, by the way, so I know you've seen them. They're for this new machine, the Area 51M. Just got announced at CES about a month ago. It's an upgradable notebook, and I'm not just talking about like the, I don't know, hard drive or the memory. You can upgrade the processor in it. You can upgrade the graphics card. Alienware really outdid themselves on this one, and you know, it's why I think, you know, best in class them and best in class me. Here's an interviewer. That's how it all works. At least that's what I tell myself whenever it's late at night and dark. You can check out Dell.com/Travis. Link in the description, and they help me out. You can help me out. That's how the world works, you know.